You know that feeling when you're backed into a corner and someone presents you with just two options, and neither of them feels quite right? Well, that's not an accident. It's a really common and pretty powerful tactic designed to simplify reality and, honestly, to force your hand. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this exact art of deception. Yeah, statements just like this one. They are incredibly powerful, and they're meant to be. They draw a hard line in the sand and basically demand that you pick a side, right now. It's a classic move you'll hear in all sorts of high-stakes debates, and it's specifically designed to leave absolutely no room for any kind of nuance. Is it ever? Of course not. I mean, the world is rarely that simple, is it? It's almost never just black and white. This kind of thinking, it's deliberately hiding a much more complex reality, one that's actually filled with other possibilities, middle grounds, and way more creative solutions. So this tactic, it's not just some random turn of phrase. It's actually a well-known logical fallacy, and it has a name, a false dilemma. You can think of it as a trap for our thinking, carefully constructed to limit our options and guide us toward one very specific conclusion. At its core, this fallacy is just a powerful form of oversimplification. It takes a really complex issue, strips away all the messy details and all the nuance, and then hands you this distorted binary choice. And you know what? It works, because our brains are kind of wired to prefer simple answers over complicated realities. It forces you to choose between two extremes, when the best answer might be somewhere in the middle, or maybe it's something else entirely. What's really cool here is how this slide basically breaks down the fallacy's DNA. First, you've got that classic either-or framing. Then, notice how it completely excludes all other alternatives. It massively oversimplifies what's usually a pretty messy reality. And the kicker? It often hits you right in the feelings, appealing to emotion to make you feel like you have to choose right now. Okay, so once you start recognizing these traits, I'm telling you, you will start seeing this fallacy everywhere. It's like a chameleon, right? It adapts to all kinds of different environments, from the biggest political stage all the way down to your own living room. Let's look at a few examples.
Oh yeah, political rhetoric is the natural habitat for the false dilemma. It is an incredibly effective tool for polarizing an issue, for rallying a base of supporters, and for completely shutting down any kind of productive debate. See how that works? It frames the whole choice as an absolute. There's just no room for someone who, say, supports economic growth, but maybe disagrees with the specific policies being proposed. Nope. You're either all in or you're branded the enemy of progress.
And this isn't just for politicians. This fallacy shows up in the workplace all the time, often used by management to push through big changes without having to deal with any friction or feedback.
Wow, I mean, this is such a classic power move. It totally eliminates any possibility for constructive criticism, for discussion, or for any kind of compromise. The only options on the table are total compliance or unemployment. It's a false choice, and it's designed for one thing: to ensure silence and control.
And this is where it can get really, really damaging. In our personal lives, false dilemmas are often used to manipulate. They create these unfair expectations and put a serious, serious strain on our relationships with the people we care about most. This is just a deeply manipulative use of the fallacy. It tries to make love equal exclusive attention, completely ignoring the fact that healthy relationships need a balance of shared time and personal space. It creates this false test of love that's basically impossible to pass without sacrificing a huge part of yourself. Now, this is a perfect example of that hidden third option. The argument wants to force us to pick between the economy and the environment, but what it deliberately ignores is the entire field of sustainable development, which is literally dedicated to finding ways we can have both. And let's be clear, this isn't some new invention. History is absolutely littered with examples of false dilemmas being used to justify persecution, to polarize entire nations, and to force devastating conflicts. From the witch trials to the Cold War, this tactic has been used over and over to simplify complex realities and rally people behind an extreme position. So what's the real damage here? I mean, falling for these false choices isn't just a simple mistake in logic. No, it has real, tangible consequences that affect our ability to solve problems, to innovate, and even just to get along with each other. Think about it. When our options are artificially restricted, we miss out on better solutions. Creativity gets totally stifled. It pushes people into opposing camps, which makes compromise pretty much impossible. And maybe most importantly, it stops us from thinking critically, and it leads us to make decisions that are far from the best we could achieve. And just look at how this plays out in the real world. In business, it can lead to needless layoffs because other options weren't even considered. In healthcare, it might push a family toward a painful treatment because palliative care gets framed as giving up. In our schools, it prevents us from blending the best of old and new teaching methods. The costs are very, very real.
But, and this is a big but, here's the good news. Once you know what the trap looks like, you can learn to see it coming. And more importantly, you can learn how to escape it. So let's talk about the tools you can use to break free from this kind of binary thinking. The absolute key is to arm yourself with the right questions. The moment you feel that pressure, that push to choose between just two extremes, you need to just pause and challenge the very premise of the choice itself. Really, it's a simple three-step process. First, just question the premise. Just ask yourself, wait, are these really my only choices? Second, look for the gray area. Life is rarely a simple on or off switch. It's almost always a spectrum. And finally, you have to actively brainstorm other possibilities. Ask, what has been left out of this conversation? And this, right here, is why it all matters so much. This isn't just about winning an argument or being clever. It's about finding better outcomes for everyone involved. By pushing past these artificial limits, we open the door to solutions that are more creative, more effective, and frankly, more humane. So I'll just leave you with this thought. The world is full of nuance, of complexity, and of endless possibility. Please don't let anyone convince you otherwise. The next time you're presented with a simple either-or choice, just remember to ask yourself, what am I not being told? And what's the third option?